right, let me fix this up a little bit. There we go. All right, everybody, let's get hyped up. Let's do the YouTuber thing of being overly excited. Okay, guys. All right, everybody. Woo! Yeah, let's go. My ideas have resorted purely to Dragon Ball as of late, and we're gonna keep on going at it because like there's nothing else for me to do. It's all I know. It's all my life is. It's all my life will ever be. This is all my existence is being in front of this goddamn camera and saying these stupid things that I don't have like a logical idea of where this is gonna go. This is just awful content. I'm sorry. It might be funny a little bit, but like you're seeing me have like an anxious anxiety attack right now. Holy shit. Anyway, okay, so. What we're doing now is we're going to be, that was a little extreme, wasn't it? What we're gonna be doing is we're going to be looking at Reddits today, and we're going to be looking at the oh so ever grandiose Redditor Dragon Ball hot takes and seeing just exactly what it is that people agree with, what people disagree with, what, mostly just gonna be a bunch of bad takes. I can see that right now, I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, let's get into it. I mean, just to start off with the initial discussion is, I'll go first, and mine is that base Gogeta should realistically and reasonably be able to easily defeat full power LSSJ Broly. Which, if you're talking about Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, in the movie, like the Legendary Super Saiyan Broly movie, that is a cold ass take. That is a cold ass take. That's like no debate, quite frankly. It's like the easiest, like, duh. I'm sorry, buddy. Like, I don't think it's a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take at all. I was kind of hoping for some more like story ones. If we're gonna have a bunch of fight-based ones, this video's gonna suck. Anyway, let's see. And I know I'm doing this wrong. I know I should be sorting by controversial. We're gonna go through a few of these and then we'll do that. Dragon Ball fans have tricked themselves into thinking that Dragon Ball is just fights. So when something even remotely complex happens in the story, they miss it or act like it's not intentional. And I think this is the most upvoted post here, and I gotta say, like, I'm not gonna lie, right? There are some nimrods and some simpletons in the Dragon Ball community, but what community doesn't have those people, right? I don't think it's people mostly just looking at Dragon Ball as fights. I think a lot of people see the intricacies and the actual story beats going on and don't just look at it as like, oh, it's grandiose now because like now it was just fights before, but now we got something else going on. Like, no, I think the fights are the climax to those intricacies, and I think a lot of people see it that way. I honestly don't think that this is much of a good take. I could be wrong. The takeaway is the fights, for the most part, right? Because they're the conclusion to it. Like the same way when you watch a movie, you usually talk about the ending. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's not everybody, but at the same time, I don't think it's like nearly as like grandiose as this post makes it seem to be. I could also be misreading it, I don't know. But I'm gonna say pretty cool take. Agreed, I think potential unleashed Gohan could have beaten Kid Buu, and there was no need for the Spirit Bomb. I mean, I guess? Sure? I don't think doing these what ifs, I see a lot of people on YouTube do Dragon Ball what if scenarios, and like, some what ifs are fun, especially like, I think in light of like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 doing what ifs, like it's fun, right? It's cool to think of what could happen, and this is more so of like, well, more logically it should have been this, but I don't know. I think the conclusion, the way they made it, makes sense. I don't know if the whole Buu saga itself is kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of the way they decided to go about the whole potential unleashed Gohan, and it's another one of those things that kind of feels like an unearned transformation. And he probably could have beaten Kid Buu, if maybe not, maybe so. It's kind of hard to tell exactly where that is because Kid Buu is supposed to be stronger than Super Buu, if I recall well. But then again, Buuhan was stronger than all of them, if again I recall well. So I don't know. I mean, the thing that gets me the most in this one is that there was no need for the Spirit Bomb. I think it makes sense that there was a Spirit Bomb. It felt right to me. I don't know. Holy Christ, man. Okay, let's go down the list a little bit. Despite the hate it gets, I actually really like the Buu saga. Cold take. For being a Demon King, Dabur was pretty wasted. Cold take, everyone agrees on that. I think Frost should have either been a good guy or shouldn't exist at all. I think that's another cold take. I think it's another thing a lot of people agree with too. But I don't think a lot of people like necessarily disagree with it as much as like, it would have been neat to just see like a flat out good guy. While I don't mind the transformation, I think Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan Blue shouldn't exist, or in Blue's case, shouldn't have been introduced later. I don't think Super Saiyan 3 has much of a reason to exist. Sure, I think Super Saiyan Blue has become the new Super Saiyan of Dragon Ball Super, so I don't know about that one so much. These takes are weird. Let's just go ahead and sort by controversial. I don't like these takes so far. Oh, okay, now we're going somewhere. Super is just as good as Z and OG Dragon Ball, and while the ending sucked, Zamasu Black was one of the best villains in the series. Bonus, while not perfect, Goku is a pretty good— oh, fuck my ass. Goku is a pretty good dad. I resent Team 4-Star for starting that stupid meme that Goku is up there with Peter Griffin. Holy fucking shit. Super is not as good as Z or OG Dragon. That's a hot take. That is a hot take. All right, that's where we're getting somewhere. And that's 0 upvotes too. That's funny. Super is so weak on so many levels. There are a lot of great character moments in Super, but they take a lot of time to get there and they're not built up very well. If it didn't have the base of Z to be built up on, it wouldn't have worked as well. Whereas I know for a lot of us, self-included, Dragon Ball Z is like the one we went to first, and most of us have not watched the original Dragon Ball. You don't need that foundation to make Dragon Ball Z work. Dragon Ball Z works on its own right, as proven by pretty much every Dragon Ball Z fan on the face of the planet. Super does not work without Z. It does not. It makes no fucking sense. I did it again. Please censor that. Zamasu and Black are not the best villains in the series. They're not. They're arguably one of the worst in my opinion. I think they are so weak in so many different ways. I think evil Goku is just not a great idea to do. I think it is just like, why do we even bother with that? It's only because people wanted to see it so bad. And it's just like, from like weak motivation to like not even like, he's like a god level threat and he's like killing people slowly on Earth. There's like, I could nitpick a lot of things, right? I don't want to do that because it's Dragon Ball. You're not supposed to like look into the deep intricacies about that kind of thing. It's a narrative, right? I hate being the guy that's just like, well, why don't they live under a waterfall? I'm sure you guys know what I'm referencing. It's like, you don't want to pick away at that stuff because yeah, sure, there's some points where it's just like, you need to have that logic to make sure that you feel like the story is moving on in a way that actually feels good. But at the same time, like, you can't, it's supposed to be telling a story. Let me get to that last point. I don't know what it is with the recent Team 4-Star hate, but y'all are a bunch of stinky boys. I don't want to call you anything else because I feel like there's this constant thing of like, I don't know what it is recently with like Twitter and Reddit and everything like that. It's just like, here's this thing we loved like 5-10 years ago. I hate that thing now. I don't like it anymore because it ruined something else or it did something bad because I saw somebody post a Twitter thread that said, this is actually pretty bad. And I'm sorry, Team 4-Star is not bad. You can say it's not great, I'll be fine with that, but like, you have to imagine just how much like production went into that. And they've seen that you can see the actual like behind the scenes stuff they've been posting recently. Like they put mad work into that stuff. That's not just like half-assing a project and just going through with it like most other people do that are probably criticizing the stuff in the first place. No, like the Goku being a bad dad joke is a joke. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously, and to the people, it's not a wide margin. It's people also joking along with it, right? But to the people that actually like grew on to believe Goku's a bad dad because of that, like y'all are like need to rewatch the series or something like that. That's like it's as simple as it is. The fact that people are turning on Team 4-Star is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Just nothing more to say on that. It's stupid. GT and Super are both bad. They both have good concepts, some that are done poorly, except that GT actually has an ending. Okay, I don't know how hot of a take this is. I think it's because people always like to point out as one or the other as being tremendously better, and it's just not the case. Super has its fault. For all the GT jokes I make, they're not that far off from each other. If there's one thing that GT falls flat on, it's choreography. Most of the time, the choreography in GT sucks, but in Super, it goes really good some of the time. Sometimes it's even worse. If anything, right, I think GT has like one of the best endings Dragon Ball ever had. It has a great ending, I think. It really feels like an actual send-off that the other series don't really have. Like, especially Super doesn't feel like an ending. That's because it's not over. It's kind of like a send-off to like I don't know exactly what they're doing with Super. Actually, I'm not even gonna pretend to lie, because they're still doing the movies. We don't know if the anime is coming back, no matter how much people say it will. Whatever. I don't know if you saw that spittle just flying to my mic, but I did, and it looked gross. I don't know how to take that is, because I actually agree with that. I'll say like lukewarm take. I'll say lukewarm at most. Again, I think it's just because most people want to say this one's better or this one's better, when reality is like neither of them are particularly great. But I'm already working on a video for that, actually, just like a breakdown of the two, trying to compare them and everything like that. Ultimately, again, it's just like whatever. Goku is a better dad than Vegeta. Vegeta ignores his son and lets Cell get stronger for his own Saiyan pride. And immediately, like, the next response is like dead on. Did Goku not do the same when giving Cell a sensu? Here's the thing, right? He's like, I don't care about who the better dad is. That's not what the story's about necessarily. There is like family aspects for sure, right? But it's like, it's about like being better than who you were yesterday. That's what Dragon Ball is about. And that's when like Vegeta goes in over his head on that aspect. Like, he's just like, I'm already the best. Fuck you, whatever you, I did it again. Whatever you do, you can't beat me. And then he beats him. Sure, you can say Goku's a better dad, I guess. Trunks being left alone all the time is like, whatever. Like, it doesn't really affect anything. It's not like it's like, the only thing I can say is that there's some jokes about Trunks being the delinquent to Goten and showing him that world, but it's like, it's not like anything like changing the world or anything. It's just kind of a joke every once in a while. So I don't know. I don't really see the need for this to be a take in the first place. I don't know what it is exactly we're trying to do here. Oh, damn. That Namek Frieza is the worst saga of the original stuff. Honestly, my thoughts of the series in general are probably not the most agreed with. There's no doubt about that. That's a hard disagree for me. There's plenty of iconic moments. There's plenty of iconic characters. I think it's generally accepted that Boo is the worst saga, and I really can't disagree with that, because there's just so much mispacing and weird character development and needless transformations and not earned transformations. It feels like we're achieving the least to Dragon Ball's message in that saga, and this one I feel like is almost the pinnacle of it, aside from the Cell saga, which is my personal favorite. I know Frieza saga is a lot of people's favorite, and that's completely fine. I think they're both like almost neck to neck to me, but like I can't agree with that. Goku Black arc is flawed but pretty enjoyable. The ending is pretty good too. Honestly, DBS as a whole is not the soulless cash grab people would have you believe. So Goku Black is flawed but pretty enjoyable. I mean, if I'm not thinking about it, I can say it's pretty enjoyable. There's some good fights in there, and like the narrative itself is fun enough. It's just distractingly, like, that's one where the logic is so flawed takes away from me. So like that's part where I really can't like get over for a lot of things. It's just kind of like the ending is pretty good. That's a hard disagree. That is a hard disagree. The ending is god awful in my opinion. It is awful. Zeno comes in and destroys everything, so it's like the future's destroyed but not really. And then also Trunks and Mai have to just go exist in another universe. It's like, it's almost like it might as well be the same thing, but it's not your universe anymore. It's just like, okay, so we resolved nothing, and like, no, I'm sorry, no. DBS is not, as a whole, is not the soulless cash grab people would have you believe. Towards the beginning, I think it is just about entirely a soulless cash grab. When we get more towards the end, especially with the Tournament of Power, especially the last 2 episodes, then we're talking about something that I think has a lot of passion and enthusiasm behind it. So that's why I say like 50-50 on that one. So I'm gonna say that's a somewhat hot take. I don't know how much the community agrees with my opinion on that. I'll give another lukewarm take, leaning more towards hot. Goku Black was a stupid character and entirely unnecessary, as we already had the bad/anti-hero Goku character multiple times already. Well, I think y'all know my opinion on that at this point. I agree with that. I don't believe that's a hot take anymore. Again, I don't know. I don't like going through Dragon Ball Twitter or Reddit because it's toxic. It's a cesspool. My lord god. Goku Black is in fact a pretty stupid character and entirely unnecessary, but he didn't make for like a necessarily bad villain. We already did have the bad/anti-hero Goku character. I don't know about multiple times already. We had Turles, I guess. Whatever it's that take. It's like, we've had enough Goku Black takes. As you can see, there's a lot of opinions on it. So whatever. But it's that Super Saiyan is the worst thing to happen to Dragon Ball. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I mostly like the movies better than the series. The manga I enjoy more than either. But of the animated works, the movies generally have better animation, much more precise, concise plotting, and always feel like they move with purpose. I think I somewhat agree with the first point, actually. I think that is a hot take, quite frankly. Even if there is some support for it, I think that is still a hot take for the simple fact that now, in terms of character evolution, we have to constantly rely on what the new hair color is, instead of looking at like what have I learned that made me better? What have I taken away from the last fight that made me better? Which I feel like, again, should be the spirit of it. And that's where I kind of got excited about Ultra Instinct, because it's something else. It's not so much a transformation, even though it is, kind of. It's more so of a technique. It's more so of like a state of mind, which is really cool, because you don't see that very often with Dragon Ball. You usually just see like my next power up because I got stronger, my next power up because I got stronger, my next power up because I got stronger. The one part I will disagree with there is I think Superhero's transformation is remarkably unearned. I think I mentioned that before too, but I think that Beast Gohan is a very unearned transformation, and I don't think it really lands for me personally. I know a lot of people love it. I think it's a great design. I don't really like it that much. I'm sorry. That's my hot take. Same with Orange Piccolo, quite frankly. I don't feel like Piccolo wishing to be stronger is in my book of things that make sense. But the new hot take that he presented there is really interesting, I think, because the movies being better than the series, I can agree with that to some points. And at other points, like, I think that long buildup really helps present something that feels earned, as opposed to just kind of happening sometimes. I think in, like, the Cooler movie, it's really cool when he has, like, a Super Saiyan transformation. That feels earned to me, to some degree, I guess. I'm gonna leave that one up to, like, personal preference. That one I don't think is very much something I'm gonna say is, like, definitively yes or no. I mean, none of these are particularly yes or no, even though I jokingly say this is definitive, but it's actually definitive. Like, you know, that one's completely up to you. I think that's a completely fair assessment to have. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling that way. So, you know, we're good with that. And I haven't seen Path to Power yet, but I really want to. So I'm gonna say, you know what? I like that take. I like that take. You don't need to watch OG Dragon Ball first. The OG Dragon Ball was not written with DBZ in mind. It isn't like Naruto. Kishimoto planned for that, for what would happen in Shippuden. OG Dragon Ball, Toriyama never planned ahead. He expanded over existing ideas. The androids were expanded from RR Saga. You don't need to watch RR Saga to understand Android Saga. Jero was never there. Lapis and Lazuli were never shown. Jevo/Android 16 were never seen killed. I mean, I feel like that's somewhat fair because, like, I want to say more so, not even because of, like, the connections he made there, but I think more so in the fact that, like, one of them is a different kind of tone to the other. Like, one of them is more so a comedy series for the initial part of it, while the next part is Dragon Ball Z being more so an action kind of thing. For the most part. So I think, like, it's not necessary. I mean, I touched on this before, right? It's not necessary to watch beforehand. It is good to have that context beforehand. I've seen some of it, and I need to watch all of it. I need to, but the main reason I haven't is because the Japanese quality, the audio for it is terrible. It sounds like it was recorded out of a toilet. It's not necessary. I don't know how hot of a take this actually is because, like, I know there's a lot of, like, elitist Dragon Ball fans who are like, go watch the Dragon Ball, go read the manga. And it's like, you know, I feel like it's what, you know, if you enjoy the show, you enjoy the show. There's no need to be like, I enjoy this better than you do. Like, what the hell's the point in that? What do you gain? What brownie points do you want? I don't know. I'm just ranting at this point. Ultimately, I kind of agree. I kind of don't. We'll leave that at a lukewarm take. DBA is the best version of the show. So here's the thing with DBA, right? It's like DBA is. We were just talking about, like, Team 4-Star they do a good job. They did a good job, I guess is the better way to put it. Like, I like everything they did, and everything they did was very fun. The actual series is a very fun way to, like, I feel like it's a good way to celebrate Dragon Ball. I don't think we should not be looking at it as an alternative. It says it right there in the intro. It's a fan-based parody. It's not meant to be a replacement of it. And, I mean, if you like it more than Dragon Ball, you can say that, but I don't think it's fair to say it's the best version of the show, because quite frankly, it's not another version of the show in the way that it's intended. That's straight from the mouth of the creators, right? I don't know. I like DBA a lot. It's not a replacement. It's not a replacement. It's two entirely different entities that, I mean, of course they have a lot of conjoining factors, but at the end of the day, it's a parody. Like, it's not the same thing. It's like saying Austin Powers is the best version of 007. It's like not the same thing. Vegeta is kind of boring now. Not a super hot take, but Goten needs his own arc. However, do it in a Guardians of the Galaxy style of story? I don't know what that means. But anyway, Vegeta's kind of boring now. Hard disagree. I think Vegeta is at his top level of like intrigue to me personally, right? With first of all having like a great storyline in the Moro arc, and then also having like Ultra Ego in Granola's arc. Like, I don't know what you could find boring about him. Sure, he might not be as exciting as like Majin Vegeta, sure, but like it's two different points in this character's lifespan, and he's like growing, and like that growth, I can go on, right? Because I've already talked about how much I love Vegeta, but hard to disagree with that one. And I have no idea what that second take. I don't know what you want from a Guardians of the Galaxy style story with Dragon Ball. I don't think that really works. If you said like Jocko, maybe we'd be talking, right? But like Goten, I don't know about that one, Chief. Goten does not need his own arc, and I think the superhero prequel kind of showed that. I mean, they're fine. Goten and Trunks are fine, like, but they're gonna get into mischief, not gonna get into like the crazy stuff that you want to see out of the story. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It seems kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that one. Granola arc is great and has better fights than the entirety of Dragon Ball Super pre-Moro. Pre-Moro, I can agree with that for the most part. If you're saying the manga, maybe. I think the Tournament of Power in the manga is not as exciting as it is in the anime, just because the anime does such a great job with that ending. But otherwise, like the Granola arc itself, I'm gonna save my opinion for that on a video because I'm already planning it out. But my thoughts on that one are complex. It's not just like it's good, it's bad. It has a lot going for it that's good. It has a lot going for it that's really bad, in my opinion. So I'll leave it as a hot take. I think that is a certified hot take. We'll move on. My take, while I've enjoyed Vegeta's redemption, I'd rather they stop trying to make him a thing, especially since it's always going to default back to Goku. Just set him in the back with the rest of the Z Fighters waiting for Goku to arrive. Hard disagree. I feel like part of the whole dynamic going on there is Goku can't get better without Vegeta, and Vegeta can't get better without Goku. It's like the whole thing. I don't really see why you want that. Vegeta's redemption is like the end of one book and the starting of another. It's not to close the entire story. So that is a hot take because it's a bad take. So Mistletoe, is that what your name is? That's a bad take. I'm sorry, bud. That's just not what it is. That's just not a good take. I'm sorry. GT is the best Dragon Ball series. That is a hot take. That is a very hot take because it's about as wrong as it gets. There is no chance in hell GT is anywhere near any of the other series. I'm sorry. Aside from Super. Like, you're not gonna sit here and tell me GT is better than Z. You're just not. You just can't do that. You actually are just doing a disservice to humanity by telling other people that lie, that fib. You really should just be exiled from the internet. Take away your credentials. Somebody get this man in prison right now, because he is going to destroy us all. Nonetheless, I don't want to put any more stickers on my face, so I'm just gonna leave it at this here. I've been recording for 35 minutes anyway. I'm sure that's enough hot takes for a day. Thank you all for watching. Did I say slot muffin? Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.